Good afternoon, everybody. I thought I'd give a sort of a brief overview of Modular 1 in week 1, basically for 1102 online English here. I'm going to be your instructor. I'm Mr. Patrick Wilson. I'm happy to meet everybody and work with everybody this semester. I hope everybody's having a decent first day or first week or first couple of days, depending on when you actually view this. I want to kind of go through and walk through the 1102 course a little bit. I'm going to try to keep this not too terribly long because I know Monday and Tuesday, usually of every new semester, is usually kind of busy. Wednesday and Thursday, obviously, that's when things really start to get rolling and people sort of get into the motion of, hey, we're back into school. I know some of y'all, if you're doing enrollment, you've probably already been in school at the high school level for the last couple of weeks. But I just want to briefly go over what you will see on the Blackboard page. Most of you, I mean, if you are in 1102, you've had 1101 at some point. Hopefully it's been recent, like within the summer or spring semester. Some of you are probably, familiar with Blackboard and what to do. You really can't mess it up if you can work any type of social media site, Instagram, X, um, Reddit, Facebook. You should be able to work Blackboard relatively with ease. I want to sort of talk about the syllabus. Most of you, it looks like last time I checked, about a dozen of you have already looked at it. I do have another 1102, which is online. So basically, when I make videos for one, it's going to go to both classes because we basically cover the same material in both. So instead of making two videos for 1102, obviously I'm going to save time and make one. I want to show you a couple things. Some things are going to be hidden on your part, which you probably want it to be hidden on your part, and really the things that are important are going to be visible. If you look, if you're having any issues navigating Blackboard Ultra, you got a couple things here that you can kind of click on and review. I will go ahead and kind of open these because it seems like when I tried to open them last week, for whatever reason, it didn't stay visible. So I had to go back and kind of double check to make sure. And I think that's really what was going on with the textbook earlier too. I had it visible last week, but for whatever reason, it didn't carry over. So I apologize for that. But same thing here with the respondents. Uh, so some of you may be familiar with this respondus. For all the quizzes and exams that we're going to take in this class, you're going to have to use response. So you might want to go ahead and download, if you don't already have, like if you used it for another class in the previous semester and still have it, that's great because you're going to need it for this particular course for the quizzes and for the exams. If you are new and never used Respondus, you want to go through this information here very carefully because it does matter what device you download it to. So if you're using a Mac, you don't want to download Respondus that is required for Chromebook or Windows. It's going to mess you up later as you try to get into the exam. Same thing if you got a Chromebook, you don't want to download it for a Windows. So you want to you want to click on the one that you're using, meaning if you got a Chromebook, click on the Chromebook. That's the one that you want to focus on. If you have a Mac, click on the Mac. You don't need to look at Chromebook, Windows, and Mac. Just click on the one that you are planning on using in the course. So you can take those exams and those quizzes because without it, you're not going to be able to take it. Now, if you don't have the required equipment, because you're going to need to have a Coastal Pine student ID or a driver's license, something that has your face on it as well as your full name, you're going to need that when it comes to the respondents because it's going to ask for those things as a pre-check. You're going to need to have stable working internet connection. You're going to need to have updated Microsoft Word, updated computer requirements. You're going to need to have a working web mic and webcam, and they must be on during the duration of the exam. If it's turned off, if it's too dark, if we can't see your face, it will flag it and you will automatically get a 0. With a lot of these, it's a one and done deal, meaning I can't keep going back and restarting and resetting and deleting. I got 5 other classes besides this one with folks using Respondus, with people turning stuff in. We're adults. We can read instructions. We should be able to follow instructions at this level. I just don't have time to be hunting down when I start, because I'm going to look at these videos to make sure, you're not cheating or using note cards or whatever the case may be. So just go with the flow and you shouldn't have any problems. Now, I will say, a lot of these quizzes are probably going to be about 30 minutes. It's going to be timed. So you don't have a lot of time to be hunting down answers, and one, you're going to be locked down into the browser. So you're not going to be able to even surf the net or go to Google or use any kind of AI type program or whatever the case may be that some of these students like to try to get away with. So you're only going to have 30 minutes with some of these shorter quizzes. Things like the midterm and the final, you'll probably have a little bit longer, 60 minutes, 75 minutes, maybe 90. We'll talk about that as we get closer. But definitely read that material and download. You're probably going to need it within the next week or so, because I think we have one of our first quizzes is coming up next week, but we'll double check and see. Textbook and tutoring information. I have put my office hours and tutoring information in the simple syllabus. We can kind of look at that here momentarily. This is your textbook. Click on it. There's some information, MLA 9 handbook. You should know about MLA 9 format from the research paper and some of the essays that you wrote in 1101. We're still using MLA 9 format as it relates to setting up your essays, right? Header, double space, Times New Roman, indent your paragraphs, have a running head with last name and page number on the top right-hand corner of every page. If you're using sources, which in this case early on, you're going to be using a lot of primary sources, so you're going to need to have a work or works cited page for most things. Same thing if when we get into the research aspect of the course, you're going to need to use secondary academic sources. So obviously, if you're going to be quoting, paraphrasing, or summarizing using parenthetical or in-text citation, you need to have that linked up to the information in the works cited page as well. So just be mindful. If you need a refresher, look back over this handbook. It will give you, really good information. There's stuff throughout the modulars, right? How to cite short stories, novellas, poetry, songs, drama, that type stuff. This is the textbook. There's going to be, things throughout each week that you're going to want to read through the e-textbook. I think I might have some of it highlighted or hyperlinked in the actual modular. Some of the other, material that we're going to be reading, I give you hyperlinks or, web pages too. So you just kind of have to click on it and it's going to take you to that page. There's really nothing that you have to buy in the course as it relates to a textbook. Everything is provided to you for free in this one. Some of the other English classes, like when we get into the American Lit class, you actually will have to buy a physical textbook for those. But for right now, for 1101, 1102, you have OERs. They're free as long as you can access Blackboard pretty much anywhere in the world. Well, at least stateside, you should be able to access your textbook. The tutoring services, again, we do offer tutor.com. You're more than welcome to use that, which I recommend that you do. Basically, for any course that you are taking, math, this English course, I will warn you, you only have about 10 free hours. So once you exhaust that, it's probably going to force you to pay. I'm not sure how much it is, but I'm sure it's probably not too terribly cheap. So I would recommend that you kind of use the tutor.com when you kind of really need to use it. Most folks wait until the last bit of the semester when it comes to the research paper. But again, it's up to you. You do have the 10 free hours, but keep in mind, once those 10 free hours go away, it's going to force you to pay. We still, we have information here about student success skills, successful Stingray. That could be helpful. You might want to look into that. When we get into more of the research aspect of the course, because we will have a research paper that you're going to have to write, maybe a couple of them, you can link into this librarian live chat to help you find the sources and stuff that you might need for your particular topic. Move on up before I get down to the information about what we're doing in the course. Let's see, weighted categories and percentages. We'll look at this real quick. This is how the grade is going to be broken down in your particular 1102 course. Everything is on a 10-point increment. So 90 to 100 is an A, of course. 80 to 89 is a B. 70 to 79 is a C. 60 to 69 is a D. 0 to 59 is an F. Most programs of study want you to have a C or higher to get full credit on the transcript and to move forward to whatever the next class is that you need to take. If you get a D or F, that's really not considered, D is kind of considered not passing, and F is basically failing. So more than likely, depending on where you're going, or even if you're transferring, you're still going to need to get a C or higher to get, officially get credit, and for this to kind of count toward any kind of associate's or bachelor's degree. So make sure that you keep C or higher in the course. I do round up, meaning at the end of the semester, if you have an 89.7, I'll round that up to a 90. But if you got like an 88.4, I round that down to an 88. Just makes it easier in the grade book, easier on the register and everybody else involved. So this is the assignment weights. As you can tell, the major essays and exams, what we call major stake assignments, MSA, they count 80% of your overall grade. So the fiction essay coming up is 12%, the poetry essay, 14%, midterm exam, 16%, research paper, 18%, final exam, 20%. The low stake assignments, LSA, quizzes, post, response papers, really anything low, the low level stuff is only 20%. That gives you the whole total of 100%. Now, we are basically a 15-week course. So there's a lot that we got to cover in 15 weeks. And we got to move fairly quickly because there's so much to cover. So don't let procrastination be your tag team partner. Because we can't delay, we can't wait for you to catch up. We're moving along. So what's due this week is due this week. Then we move to next week. What's due next week is due next week. So you do have time in between, like major assignments, like big essays, you're going to have a couple weeks to do. But these quizzes and responses and discussion posts, you're basically going to have within a week period or so. Most things are going to be due, between Monday and Thursday. There's nothing going to be due over the weekends that can be used for you to get caught up on the reading, possibly get caught up future weeks ahead, get caught up in other classes. But most things are going to be due Thursday by 6 o'clock in the evening. That's the deadline that the college wants to go by now. So just make sure that you get stuff in by the required weekly deadlines. Once the deadline in the Dropbox closes, it disappears. If there's nothing there, it's going to be graded automatically as a 0. I'm not going back to open up stuff. I'm not going back to give you, we're 3 weeks down the road and you need to make up stuff in week 2. I'm not going to go back and open stuff up for week 2. You just need to stay with the program and stay caught up. Obviously, I mean, this is getting more into like it's really the second freshman level English class at the college level. We're treating it like a freshman level, second semester college English class like you would get Georgia Southern, various other places. Emory, we got to move along. We got a schedule and we got to follow it. We only got 15 weeks to cover what we need to cover. If there's an opportunity and if there's time, I'll see about, offering several chances of extra credit. That could possibly help your grade if you choose to take advantage of it. It's going to be optional. You don't have to do it. I'm not going to force you to do it, but I would recommend that you probably do some extra credit just to kind of have a cushion on your grade, especially if you're taking more than just this course. And if you got a lot of stuff outside of college, like work and kids and stuff, because you just never know what's going to be happening come week 10. And there might be a lot of stuff going on and your grade starts to suffer. That extra credit could help your grade. But I will see if there's time. I usually try to offer 2 or 3 opportunities. It all depends on the time and what's going on. If I do have time, I will let you know that. I will offer it and give you the chance. There will be there's a timeline for it. It's not going to be open forever. So you're going to need to, if I do offer it, you're going to need to take advantage of that if you choose to do so. All right, so let's look at the syllabus. Again, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I'm not going to read verbatim because this thing is kind of lengthy. But also, I don't want this video to sort of just go on and on for hours on end. Because if you had 1101 as an online English course, then you probably know the deal about online courses. So obviously, this is a 100% strictly online course. Your participation is required by the weekly deadlines that are already built into play. So what is English 1102? Emphasizes the student's ability to read literature analytically and meaningfully and to communicate clearly. Students analyze the form and content of literature in historical and philosophical context. Topics include reading and analyzing of fiction, poetry, and drama, research, and writing about literature. So obviously, if you're in this class, you made a C or higher in 1101. So that's sort of what helps with gaining entry into this class. You're going to take what you should have learned in those 15 weeks of 1101, especially as it relates to the writing aspect, and apply it here because we're going to be reading a little bit more, but you're going to be analyzing different types of literature, poetry, drama, short stories, novellas. Again, I showed you where you can find the textbook online. You're going to need to read this a little bit about Lockdown Browser because you're going to need it for this course. Again, there's some more hyperlinks here that you can click on. Here's some information about traveling, especially if you're going out of state, or really not out of state, but out of country. You're not going to be able to access Blackboard if you're going anywhere out of the United States. So if you got any kind of plans during this semester that you are out of the country, then you need to let me know as soon as you know that you're going to be leaving or whatever the case may be, so you can do that work either ahead of time or when you come back. Otherwise, you're just going to have to eat the zeros, which I hate that for, but you're not going to be able to, go to London and be able to use Blackboard over there. It's just not going to work. Or go to Mexico or Canada or Puerto Rico, wherever the case may be. Again, like I said, all your quizzes, exams, and timed essays will be proctor events. So you're going to need to have respondents as quickly as possible. This is my information. This is my office phone number. You can call, leave a message if I don't answer. I live in Brunswick, but my full-time campus is in Camden. So I'm pretty much here Monday through Thursday, 7:30 in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening. If I'm not in the office, either I'm doing in-person tutoring, I'm teaching a class, I'm traveling either to or from work, I'm doing some kind of lecture via Teams like I am here, or I'm doing some virtual tutoring. So the easiest way probably to reach me, honestly, will be through email because I'm going to check that out since I'm here 10-hour days throughout the day. If it's something really quick, you will get something back within a 24-hour period, if not sooner. If it's something, like reading a draft of an essay or something that's going to require me to do a little bit more digging into grading wise or proofreading or whatever the case, it may take up to 48 hours. Especially if you send something on the weekends or holidays, expect a little bit of a delay. But if you send something, I will answer you back. I'm not going to live on the computer Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just like I don't expect you to live on the computer over the weekend or during your downtime. I have a wife, I have 2 kids, so I get the whole deal. Hey, you want to spend time with the family or whatever the case may be. You want to spend time away from, you want to balance work life, school life, and all that as well. So just know if you do send something on Friday, it may be Saturday or Sunday, but I will get back to you. If it's like, you know, early in the morning or later at night, just expect it's probably going to take at least a 24-hour to a 48-hour period if it's over the weekend. My email is capital P, capital W, as it says here. You want to use it that way because otherwise, if you do lowercase, I may or may not even get it. It's case sensitive for whatever reason. So when you email me, just make sure you have the capital P, capital W. Also, if you're using Office 365 or student email, make sure you have a subject in the titled subject. Otherwise, if you leave it blank, it's not going to send properly, and I will never get it. The other thing is you can email through Blackboard. You just can't check email through Blackboard. So we can email each other all day long through Blackboard, but we can never go into Blackboard and check for that email. You're going to have to go to your Office 365 student email to be able to retrieve emails that your instructors send you. This is my office hours. The R is Thursday. A lot of students get that confused, don't understand what the R means in the schedule. It means Thursday. So from 8 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, I'm in the office. Monday and Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. I'm in the office, and then Tuesday and Thursday, 4 to 5 p.m. I'm in the office. So if you want to have office time, if you live close to the Camden Center, we can meet in the office. We can meet in one of my classrooms. We can meet downstairs in the library. Same goes with in-person tutoring. Monday and Thursday, 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. is in person. And then we can do some virtual tutoring if that's easier, if you don't live so close to Camden. Tuesday and Wednesday, we can set something up 12:30 to 2. You just kind of have to let me know, and we can work around each other's schedule. And the tutoring sessions can be, I usually try to cap them off within maybe an hour. It doesn't mean you have to stay the full hour. We can use them more or less as lecturing time too. I try to send out lecture videos at least once a week or as often as I can. Sometimes that's easier said than done on my part, especially since I got 5 other classes. I got nearly 70 students. If everything makes class-wise this semester, so I'm going to be busy just like you are. Just bear with me. There's only one of me, and there's 70 of you. So when it comes to grading quizzes, discussion posts, those usually can get graded within about a week. When it's a longer test or a longer paper, it may take up to 2 weeks, but if you turn something in, I can download it and I can read it, you will get a grade on it. Same thing is when we get into writing essays, if you want to send me rough drafts, what I'd recommend that you do is probably send it to tutor.com first, have them review it. Once they give you some suggestions and feedback as it relates to revision, revise what they say, send me a fresh copy as a Microsoft Word email attachment. I will look at it. I will give you some feedback, especially for whatever they missed. So by the time it comes back to me for maybe the final draft, the one that you want me to grade, you'd already have about 2 or 3 sets of eyes that looked at your work. The more sets of eyes that look at your work, Generally, the higher the grade's going to be, the better the paper will be. Just creating one draft and sending that in as your final draft is going to be the shit draft. It's not going to be any good. I can tell you that right now. Most students have done that in the past. They are lucky to get a 70 on it. Most folks get a D or lower on, rough drafts that somehow become final drafts within a really short amount of time. I give you time to work on these. Take the time. Don't let your time management and procrastination skills cut in. Again, the AI stuff, we know about AI. There's AI checkers that I use. I busted students last summer using AI and plagiarizing. So it's not going to be fun if you get caught and get called out, because you will get called out. I will give you the proof. I got a program that, I throw your papers in. If I think they look suspicious, they sound like AI. It checks about 10 different AI programs out there, free and paid. So eventually you will get caught. So I wouldn't do it. The first offense, you get caught cheating, plagiarizing, or using AI, buying a paper, zero automatically on that assignment. If you're foolish enough, or let's just say if you're stupid enough, because really you got to be stupid to do it a second time, you're just going to get an F in the course automatically. Your semester is going to be over as it relates to this particular course. We got additional paperwork that we have to sign out, you and I, and then we're going to make a trip to Waycross and have a panel of deans, presidents, vice presidents. They're going to start looking at your other courses. So now you're definitely under the academic microscope to see if you're cheating or buying papers or using AI in your math class, history class, psychology class, whatever the case may be. And they decide whether they're going to suspend you for a semester, a couple semesters, a year, or for good, meaning they just bar you from this college. The problem with that is that particular label will stay on your transcript and will follow you wherever you decide to go to college, in state, out of state, private, public, out of country. It's going to stick with you like your social security number. So there's no way around it. And bigger universities will ask, what is this label about you getting barred from CPTC? And of course, you can hem and haw about it, but they can always call the main office and figure out what's going on. So again, these are my office hours, tutoring hours. These are some of the course learning outcomes. You can kind of read through those. Again, I'm not going to read verbatim here. This needs to be changed up again because it's not what I have originally. So this is not correct. I don't know why it didn't copy over correctly, but I will fix that. What I showed you earlier was correct, because not all this, I mean, this is not right. This simple syllabus sometimes is not the greatest in the world. As it relates to the pop quizzes, I mean, if I was teaching this class in person, we would probably have some pop quizzes, but you're going to know about the quizzes ahead of time, and they're going to be on your in your modulars. They're going to have a due date. You can see it on your calendar. It's not going to be something that's just going to pop out of the blue. You're going to know about it. So yes, we need to have Microsoft Word documents. Those are the ones that I need. I don't need a PDF. If you send a PDF, I can read it, but I can't give you feedback, meaning I can't mark on it like I can with a Microsoft Word. So make sure that you're using Microsoft Word. There are free versions inside of the Office 365 email. If you need help with those, I can show you where you can find some of the free software. This talks a little bit more about plagiarism and academic falsification, AI usage and all that stuff. So you might want to go and read through that so you know about it. For the most part, and this is not right. I don't know what's going on here. So don't don't go by this right here because it looks like it's more of a summer course. Let me see if I can do anything to kind of fix this. We have this thing called simple syllabus, and it's supposed to take stuff from one semester and sort of integrate it into another semester. And as you can tell, you can see that stuff here. So I'm going to take this off for a minute. I'm going to have to go back and kind of change this up. But you will see what's due. This is the updated version. Again, things are subject to change, but if they do, I will let you know in a timely manner. But for the most part, these are all going to be, there's going to be a final exam that comes. I will let you know about that. So check back as it gets closer to December for that date and time. But for our purposes right now, this is how it's going to be. And I'm going to have to, like I said, go in there and kind of change up this course schedule. Because it's not the right one. It looks like it's from a summer semester of mine for whatever reason. Okay, so modular 1 right now is going to be the only thing that's going to be open. The rest of them should be hidden or will be hidden at some point. There's a couple schools of thought. I have opened up all of these and kind of let students work at their own pace. The problem with that is if you're really determined to do that, self-discipline, it works really well. Most students can read and understand the assignments. They send emails, recall, or get tutoring, or whatever the case may be. Other students, they do well the first couple assignments, and then they get to like modular 7 and they start screwing up. And it's because we're still on modular 3 and somehow they're 4 modulars ahead. So now they're wondering why they're getting 15s and 24s and 47s on their assignments. It's because they're not understanding what they need to do. They're not slowing down because they're thinking the faster they go, look, I can get this 15-week modular course done in 2 months. Well, some of you may could. Others need to sort of go week by week because otherwise they will get overwhelmed. They will start screwing up on assignments, which will give them really decreasing grades each week. It's a headache on their end. It's a headache on my end because they're going to want me to go back and say, well, since y'all are still on modular 3 and I'm basically on modular 8, you could delete it because there's still time before it's actually due. So it just becomes a really big headache on both parts. So I'm probably going to wait to see how everybody works as it relates to the flow. I mean, eventually, as we get closer to the end, let's say in November, I might start opening up, a couple weeks in advance just because we're working on the research paper and I want to give you enough time to not only work on the stuff you got to work weekly here, but also give you a chance to work on that research paper. So you're not getting so bogged down right around Thanksgiving. And then when we come back, we only have like a week and a half left and then we're done. So I will see, how everybody's work ethic is, going in the first half of the semester, let's say up to week 9, which would be midterm. And then after that, I decide whether I can start opening, 2 weeks in advance or whatever the case may be. Because I want y'all to be successful. And I don't need the frustration, because if I open it up here, other classes are probably going to catch wind. They're going to want me to do it there. So I really don't need the frustration of having, if I have 70 students, 45 of them are messing up on assignments and they're wanting stuff deleted and, restarted and all that stuff. It's just going to be a painful situation. It's going to be a real big headache on both parts. So that's why I'm doing it. Modular 1 would be like week 1. Modular 2 would be like week 2. Modular 3 would be like week 3. So that's how we're going to roll with it right now. If you click here, I give you the textbook readings and videos if there's any videos that apply. You can click on the hyperlinks. Again, this sort of will take you to this similar material you will find in that OER. I do give you page numbers. So if you click on the hyperlink and you need additional information about those particular, like here, elements of literature, if you still need additional information about it, you can easily go to those pages I put here in your OER. If you click on the hyperlink, you can say, hey, I watched the video, read the information, I understand it, I'm good. You don't have to worry about going back into your textbook. Let that be up to you. The videos are helpful because they sort of connect to what's going on here. What you could do maybe is watch the video, see if you understand that. If you do, great, you can move on. If you don't understand the video, I would go to the hyperlink first. If you don't understand the video and the hyperlink, then I'd go to the page numbers. If you don't understand all three, then you need to email me so we can set up either a tutoring session or we can kind of clarify what's going on your end. So in a lot of ways, you got 3 ways of learning the same information. You just may learn it a little differently. You got visual aid, audio, and then you got your old-fashioned black and white textbook and hyperlink. So you will have those weekly. You will also have assigned readings that really is going to, go with whatever assignment that we're going to have at the end of that particular week. In this case, you have a discussion post that's going to be due by 6 o'clock on Thursday, this Thursday. So this would be the assigned readings. Again, I give you a hyperlink. You may find some of these in the OER. Chances are you probably won't find a lot of these in the OER. That's why I gave you the hyperlink. So Shirley Jackson's The Lottery and Raymond Carver's Cathedral, you want to read by the 20th of this week. So you can answer the discussion question that is due on the 20th by 6 o'clock. But before there, you want to click here. This is how citing, you've learned about citing really prose writing, and that's what you call novella, novels, short stories, essays, scholarly journals, books, that type stuff. But if you need a refresher from 1101, definitely go through this video because you're going to need to cite from your primary text, which would be citing from Carver's short stories, citing from Joyce's or Jackson's short story. So you're going to need to know how to do this stuff. That's where 1101 sort of kicks back in. So if you didn't learn in 1101, you're definitely going to need to learn it now because it's going to come back to haunt you. And then we have this discussion post with the question. I believe it's self-explanatory. Read the topic. It deals mainly with the cathedral piece. Your initial post needs to be 250 to 300 words. Answer 2 selected prompt questions and integrate at least 2 direct quotes with your MLA in-text citation. So out of the prompts, you need to answer 2. Yes, you can blend it all into one. I think that would be easier. Otherwise, if you do want to sort of separate them and give 2 different posts on them, you can. That would just make you have 3 posts, I guess, at that point. If you're going to split them up that way, I probably wouldn't. I would probably kind of keep your initial post, the first 2 prompts, and then at least respond to one other classmate. That needs to be in 100 to 150 words. Again, you just need to respond to one. You don't have to do 2 or 4 unless you have time and want to. And this is sort of the rubric I want to follow. So pretty self-explanatory. 40, 25, 20, and 15. I believe, if my math's correct, and I double check that, that should add up to 100. Obviously, if you just do your part and you don't respond, you're going to lose some points. If you just respond and don't do any of your initial point or post, you're going to lose some points. Anything, then you're not going to get, you're going to get 0 on the assignment. This is sort of that first assignment too, sort of a verification assignment. So if you don't submit anything by 6 o'clock this Thursday, what the college is going to want me to do is by, say, the end of business on Monday coming up, mark you as a no-show. And once that gets processed, basically they're going to remove you from all your classes. They're just going to drop you because you didn't show up, you didn't participate, you didn't turn anything in that first week. That's why it's equally important to stay up with due dates, check your email on a regular basis, and turn in anything that you need to turn in on that first week. The other thing is the college is going to do a purge tomorrow, meaning if you owe money and your finances are not in order as it relates to the college, you will be dropped from all your courses. So come Wednesday, when you try to log into this course or your computer course or whatever the case may be, it's not going to let you. And it's because you've been purged. So if you owe money, I would definitely get that situated by the end of business tomorrow. Because even if you do pay, let's say you get dropped and you do pay and you get back in, it may be Thursday. You may have to pay additional fees, and plus you got an assignment due by 6 o'clock if you get back in on Thursday. So you don't have a whole lot of time, especially if you didn't have a chance to read any of this stuff. The reading, for the most part, I try to keep relatively short where I can. It will take a little bit of time. You may have to read some of these things, and the reason why I do give some of the shorter readings, so you can read them multiple times, so you can understand. Now, I know there's things out there, Spark Notes, Lip Charts, Shroomp, various analytical or, Cliff Notes, or little cheat sheets, summary guides. I don't mind that you read those. Honestly, if you're having trouble understanding a particular area in a short story or a novella or a poem or whatever, if they do have, analysis and critical commentary on a particular work that we're using, by all means, read it. If it helps you understand whatever we're reading. Obviously, you can ask me questions about it. We can set up little mini lectures or whatever the case may be. Record them so other people can watch them, or give links so other people in the class can join them. What I don't want you to do is to copy and paste, especially when we get into analyzing literature for writing. Don't take verbatim what somebody says on GradeSaver. Just because they're from Yale or Harvard and they're English majors or they have a PhD in English, that's their opinion, right? Plot summary, again, is just that. It's plot summary. It's not analytical analysis that you will need for this course. You're just regurgitating somebody else that's regurgitating somebody else that's regurgitating somebody else. If I wanted to read the Cliff Note version, I would read the Cliff Note version. There's 1,000 of them out there that are free. Wikipedia does a very good job on some of these. AI, you can throw in a hyperlink to that story and it will summarize it for you. I don't need to reread the summary. I don't need to reread the plot. I've read these. I know what the plot is. I need to see hard, analytical, critical thinking from your own brain, not a robot, not some Dr. Yahoo Google from 17 years ago, not your mom, not your partner down the street, your brain. You're the one taking the course, nobody else. So if it's not coming from your mind, your opinion, your analysis, then it's really not going to be too much of great value to me. It's an assault on my intelligence. Because again, if it starts off, similar to the, first few words that a Spark Notes will have, or a Wikipedia, or a wiki, or some Khan Academy video, or some, Google Gemini 3.7, then I know you're not doing the reading and I know you're not thinking for yourself. This class is meant to make you think critically, analytically. We want you to think. I care what you have to say, what's in your brain. I don't care so much about the regurgitation from some sort of program or somebody that's taken this class 7 years ago. So make sure that you're doing your own reading. Make sure you're doing your own research. Um, this class is going to be tough if you allow it. I usually build the class, medium level, meaning is it easy? It's easy if you do the work and you go through the motions and you ask the questions, you turn work in, read on time, set up tutoring meetings, send me drafts, that type of stuff. It's going to be very difficult if you wait and let procrastination be your tag team partner. If you wait 2 hours before something is due, if you wait, 9 hours after I grade something to finally email me back and gripe and complain why you made a, 29 on it when you had 3 weeks to work on something. So if you don't study, don't put a little bit of time in it, yeah, it's going to be a difficult course. If you put the time in it, put the effort, go through the motions, it will probably be easy to a medium course. It's very easy to get a D and F in this course. How easy? Just don't do anything. Simple as that. Most people didn't sign up for this class just to get a D and F, at least I hope not. I will tell you, 3 zeros in this class will give you a 40 or lower in the course. 2 zeros will get you a 60 or lower. 1 zero will give you an 80 or lower. So zeros do count. I will say if you are, 50% or lower come week 9, which is basically midterm week, you probably want to drop the course because there's just no way you're going to pull that up to a 70 or higher. I've done the math. You would need to, make 15 100s on 15 assignments to just pull your grade from a 40 to a 70. Guess what? We don't have 15 assignments the closer we get to the end of this course. So, and some of you already know now. I mean, if you got a lot of courses going on, if you got a lot of stuff going outside, especially if you're doing enrollment, you got a lot of extracurricular activity, 12th grade, 11th grade, you don't think you're going to be fully committed to this course. You got a lot of family commitments, a lot of full-time job commitments, then I would rethink about maybe withdrawing now and maybe taking this course in the spring when you have a little bit more mental capacity to it. Because you're going to need to have to read and do your own work and do your own writing and do your own thinking. It's a fast-paced course. Like I said, we can't stay forever on Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. After this week, we're moving on to the next 2 stories that we need to read for next week. And that's how we're going to go, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. All right. Besides, I'm going to have to fix that grade breakdown to reflect what I showed you earlier. Let me see what else there is. Hold on just 1 second. We might be here at the end. Yeah, I think we are. And like I said, I will try to give weekly videos as often as I can. Bear with me. Some weeks I may not give weekly videos. I may try to give you handouts or notes. It just depends on how busy and what's going on my end as it relates to some of these other classes. But you can always reach out and ask me questions. We can always set up tutoring meetings. I'm here to help you. But at the same time, I can't read minds. So if you don't understand anything, you're going to need to speak up because you're the one paying for this course or somebody's paying it for you. As I tell all my students, we offer 1010, 1101, and 1102 yearly. So you can always retake it, spring semester, next fall, next summer, whatever the case may be. I would hope that you'd want to get through it with a decent grade the first time around, so you're not having to take it multiple times. But we will definitely take your money if you need to take it a second, third time, fifth time, 10th time. Have I had folks fail this class? Yes. And a lot of it is because they racked up a lot of zeros, right? You get 3 zeros within the first 4 weeks, right? We're talking about the first month in, that's about mid-September. You're doomed. I mean, we just got October, November, and December, and there's just no way you're going to be able to pull that grade up. So a lot of it is that they either cheat, plagiarize, use AI, or at some point they do really, really well. And let's say about week 11, something happens in their life. They never get back with me. They disappear. They go on Thanksgiving break and they wobble out of the semester like a turkey. And they rack up 3 zeros there at the end, and bam, that's all it takes. I've seen folks go from a 94 November 1st to a 35 December 1st. That's how fast things can change. And I don't want that to happen to you. But if you don't stay up the deadlines and you don't ask for the help, your grade will do that. And again, anything's better than a 0. Even if you turn it in and you get a 10 on it, yes, it's still failing. Better than a 0. As long as you don't get, 12s and 24s after that, as long as you get higher grades, the 10 may not help or hurt you as much. I mean, will it bring you down? Yes, depending on the assignment, right? If it's clearly, if you make a 10 on the research paper and the research paper is what, 18% of your grade, it's going to bring you down a little bit. It won't do as much damage as a 0 will. Because a 0 will bring you down to at least 2 letter grades on that assignment. So let's say the paper, if you turned it in on time, got a 90 on it. Well, since you got a 0 on it, it brought you down. So please keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to end it there. Give you a chance to go through the modular for this particular week and get the reading done and the assignment that you need to get done. Generally, what I do is on Thursday, I will open up the next modular. So when I come to work, sometimes I might do it before I leave work on Wednesday. That way, if you feel confident, if you're already ahead or already turned in the stuff that you needed to turn in for the previous modular, you can go ahead and get a head start on the upcoming modular. So you're not, so in case you got stuff going on, you got other classes, you can go ahead and know what's ahead. There won't be anything due over the weekends, but you can get ahead with the reading, with some of the work that will be due that coming week. So you can turn stuff in earlier, right? You don't have to wait till the deadline unless you just want to. But the drop boxes are going to be open at least a week early for most weeks. All right, I'm going to let you have at it. I hope you have a good week, and I will talk to you probably sometime next week. Thanks. Bye.